You know, I was getting a little sad because the election ends in like 3 days. And at first I was feeling a little bit of this whole election fatigue, which I think is normal, especially whenever you're talking about this stuff day in and day out. But then I saw this video with RFK Jr. and President Trump just at a coffee shop, and it made me actually feel really hopeful. It's not really I'm not thinking of it as the end of this election season, but the beginning of this new and beautiful season where we have this team of people who are working to make America healthy again, working to make America great again, working to bring so many wonderful things into fruition. And that's what I'm choosing to think about today and how I'm choosing to experience this moment. The election does end in 3 days, but I think new things are going to be emerging out of this. And I think the best way to kind of start this video is with this really beautiful moment of Trump at a coffee shop and RFK Jr. just popping in behind him, just with a glowing smile. Check this out. I think it is so, so, so good.
Well, she is campaigning. I mean, she's campaigning for us.
Mr. President Trump, I'm sorry, guys. You said last night, President Trump, you said last night you would essentially let Robert F. Kennedy Jr. do whatever he wants with healthcare. What
He's going to have a big role in health.
HHS, maybe?
We just left. In fact, I think he might be here.
He's right behind.
He's right here.
You're comfortable with his
Will he
views
run
You're
HHS?
comfortable with his views on vaccines, Mr. President?
We'll be talking about a lot of things, but he's going to have a big role in healthcare, a very big role.
Is it HHS, maybe?
Come on. Don't you want 4 years of this? Look at these guys standing side by side, committed to serving the beautiful American people. Don't you want this? Aren't you wanting to vote for this? Also, if you guys haven't gone out and made your voice heard in the form of a vote, what are you waiting for? Come on. I'm actually really happy that so many people in my last community post said that they've already voted. It is insane. I absolutely love that. And I'll let this clip play out a little bit. It's only another 20 seconds. But real quick, before I do that, other things that we're going to talk about today is Nicole Shanahan just cast her vote for President Trump live on Tucker Carlson's stage, and I thought it was so wonderful. We're absolutely going to talk about that, and I also want to talk about this beautiful spiritual moment with RFK Jr., where he talks about that the role that he's in right now with Trump is actually the role that he was praying for 19 years, and every single day. That is absolutely absurd. That just made me so incredibly grateful to have him standing alongside President Trump to make this happen. Okay, back to this video. Check this out. It is so wonderful.
He knows it better than anybody. He's got some views that I happen to agree with very strongly, and I have for a long time. I mean, for years, you and I would we'll be seeing it as a.
What about his views on vaccine and maybe a position of
all of these
HHS?
things we'll be talking about.
This meeting is for the community of Dearborn, so please let us welcome Mr. Donald J. Trump.
Wow, don't you love that? President Trump saying that RFK Jr. will have a big role in his upcoming administration. He's talked about how he's essentially giving him the keys to all of these different branches, and I personally couldn't be more excited about it. And you know what I just saw today? As I compare this moment between President Trump and RFK Jr., especially at this part where Kennedy just shows up, right? I actually think it's comparable to right here where we see J-Lo and Kamala Harris. And something about this clip is incredibly uncomfortable. It feels disingenuous and just not right. It just doesn't sit well with me. And it's just so strange. People are talking about how like J-Lo is definitely associated with Diddy and how she's a part of so much of this controversy and how it's highly inappropriate and almost career ending. And then you have Leek Lauren put a quote tweet saying, "I've seen hostage tapes with more personality." This is bleak. It absolutely is. You guys could go ahead and watch this video. It's going to be linked up, but I'm not playing it because there's music and I do not want to make YouTube angry. But when I see kind of the energy between these people, I don't know. I'm so grateful for what I see here with RFK Jr. and President Trump, because I feel like you see two people who are committed to the American people, people who've worked their entire lives to actually benefit this nation. And now they're working so hard to actually get into this position where they can make real change. President Trump actually making, real change once again in his second term, but RFK Jr. taking the national stage to do the thing that he wanted to do for 19 years, the thing that he was praying for 19 years. I was actually going to play this much later, but because I naturally made this segue, I'm just going to play this right now. It is so beautiful. Look at this caption. This is just incredible. Check this out.
This is not what our children are supposed to be looking like. For 19 years, I pray every morning without a single exception that God would put me into position to end this chronic disease epidemic. And in August 23rd of this year, God sent me Donald J. Trump.
Oh my gosh, come on. Over the past couple months that I've been doing this, what is it now, 6 months? I don't know. But there's been many times where I brought up my spirituality and I brought up my faith, and a lot of people tend to really like it. Even the people who are agnostic, even the atheists here in the crowd, they appreciate this moment. And you guys, I just have so much respect for you all. But to see that RFK Jr. has been praying for 19 years to end this chronic disease epidemic that has this country by a chokehold, and to see that he is so believing that God sent him, President Trump, in order to do this job. To me, it just restores so much confidence. And a conversation that I've been having lately is, I just have a deep belief and hope that President Trump is going to win this election on November 5th, because whenever I look back on the footage from what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, it's like you have to believe that if you are a spiritual person, then I believe the idea is that God saved Trump for a reason. And I don't think God saved Trump in order for him to lose. I think God saved him for a specific purpose, to restore health and to restore so many wonderful things that this country has seen in the past, and also to create more beautiful and wonderful things for this future. And whenever I think of that, I just have a deep sense and deep faith that President Trump is going to become the president again in 3 days from now. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm believing. And I just think it's so wonderful that RFK Jr. took this stage to share what he was praying for the past 19 years. And honestly, I'm so excited. I don't think there's a better person who could be fighting this fight. Speaking of someone else who's been fighting a fight alongside RFK Jr., Nicole Shanahan, the person who essentially funded so much of the campaign. She was taking on the DNC directly to combat their abusiveness to their campaign, and it was disgusting what happened. But look at Nicole Shanahan as she takes the stage here to vote for President Trump, even though her name is still on the ballot in California. Look at this.
Despite the novelty of seeing my name on here next to a bubble, I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
Oh my goodness. Don't you love how she lit up? This is the face of someone who is so secure in their vote. Someone who is so secure in this future. I love that so much. You know what? When I see things like this, I actually don't believe that Kamala Harris's campaign is the joy campaign. I actually think the joy campaign is what's happening on the right. I think the joy campaign is this collaboration between ideas, between parties, between movements like making America healthy again and making America great again. That to me is the joy party. If you ask me, what do you think? That is such an incredible crowd. I love that so much. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is there's been this moment from Trump and Tucker Carlson that took the internet by storm today. It's been what a bunch of left-wing operatives that have been running with, and Liz Cheney has turned herself into a victim for saying that President Trump is essentially trying to kill her. It is crazy. So this is the entire clip, and then I'm gonna give you my perspective on it. But yeah, let's watch this. Check this out.
Is it weird for you to see Liz Cheney, that'd be Dick Cheney's repulsive little daughter, running against you with Kamala Harris?
Well, I think it hurts Kamala a lot, actually. Look, she's a deranged person. But the reason she couldn't stand me is that she always wanted to go to war with people. I don't want to go to war. She wanted to stay in Syria. I took them out. She wanted to stay in Iraq. I took them out. I mean, if it were up to her, we'd be in 50 different countries. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person. And I'd have meetings with a lot of people, and she always wanted to go to war with people.
Okay, so there's a lot that we could actually extract here. For one, Trump called her a lot of names. Okay. He called her deranged, he called her stupid, he called her a war hawk. All of these things. The war hawk is the one that's absolutely true. But these other name calling, this other behavior where he's kind of taken on this bully type of persona, it's absolutely unhelpful. But let's ask the question behind the question. Let's peel this curtain back a little bit. Let's peel the onions. Okay. What's President Trump saying? Like, actually, what's he saying right now? He's saying that there is this difference in character between Liz Cheney and someone who is essentially advocating for more war, and we have President Trump's position of peace, where he is advocating for peace. And what he is trying to do is create the argument that Liz Cheney is actually deeply unempathetic. So he's trying to bring more context and more perspective here by saying, I bet you would actually have a different understanding or a different idea if you were the person who was at war and you were looking in the barrel of an enemy. Then you would have you would have some different feelings about war, right? And that's what he's saying. And if that was the point that he was trying to get across, I think most people would probably agree with that, and they would probably accept that as truth. Unfortunately, because President Trump is President Trump, he did not communicate it the right way, and he has been facing a lot of a backlash for it, and it is incredibly unfortunate. And I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts today, and I was actually reminded of that moment from this podcast right now, which was from Eric Manis. He says, as a leader, you're not just responsible for what you say, but how it's heard. And I just can't. I have to take it back to President Trump here, because yes, he did say probably the wrong thing, right? even though the intention is probably right, even though it is rooted in truth, even though there's a basis for it, because it was heard the wrong way, now it's being held up to different types of interpretation. And then now we have different people who essentially have to go and battle for President Trump. And I actually do think this is wonderful. We have, okay, I believe this person is Trump's 2024 National Press Secretary, and she is so incredibly sharp. This is a 2-minute clip, but it is absolutely worth it. But I did want to play the first clip for context. Now, check this out. It is so good. This is fun. This is on ABC.
Talk about violence against political opponents. Let's talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a threat to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to Hitler, one of the worst mass murderers in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political violence that has led to 2 heinous assassination attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political violence because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, have got this country into is not political violence. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
Yet, of course, after those attempted assassination attempts on the former president's life, his opponents reached out to him and said they do not accept political violence. That has been a key difference. I do want to play you.
No, please. His opponents are saying to this very day the same rhetoric that led to those 2 assassination attempts. The second attempted assassin on President.
I feel like even this reporter does not believe the words that she is saying. I feel like she knows that that is not what is happening right now in today's Democratic Party, and it is really chilling.
President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a threat to democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie. And yes, you will take political violence like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Last week, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a Nazi. That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day. And I'm so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it. And that's why today in 2024, President Trump is more popular than he has been since 2016, because people don't trust the media and they're not buying the Harris campaign's closing argument that he's some great threat to our democracy, because they lived under him for 4 years as president, and our democracy and our country was stronger than it is today.
That was so good. She is so spot on. The fact that more and more people are distrusting mainstream media is absolutely something that I could not have imagined until the year 2024. But now, now that I'm kind of in this space, now that I've actually, gotten into a more of the consumption of independent media and trusting this essentially third party journalists, I've learned that it's really not third party journalism. This is actually like first party. This is where the news is coming in. Like even X is now considered like the #1 news site in the world. Why? Because this is real people with real information talking to a real audience. And now it's getting picked up by things like ABC, which is now becoming this more secondary or third rate form of media consumption. And I just think that is incredibly fascinating. Like, I don't know if you guys heard this, but Megyn Kelly recently said that she actually outviewed CNN's YouTube channel in one of the past previous months. Like, that was insane. CNN's main YouTube channel with like 10 million subscribers or whatever, Megyn Kelly outnumbered them in views for that entire month. An independent person, an independent channel got more views than a national mainstream media network. It is insane. So yeah, the American people, the beautiful American people, have a big distrust in the machinery that is the mainstream media. Speaking of the machinery, we have Mark Cuban, who unfortunately has been told to stop doing interviews on behalf of the Kamala Harris campaign. This was broken by Wall Street Silver. That's where I saw it. And I would not be surprised at all because I just went on Mark Cuban's Twitter account and he hasn't posted about Kamala Harris all day. And this is coming from someone who did not stop posting about him, about Kamala Harris for literally like pretty much every single tweet before. And now he went radio silence today? For why? I think because Kamala Harris told him that he was actually creating more damage. I don't know why anyone hasn't told her that about Liz Cheney, but that's where we are at. And the last thing I wanted to share was I saw this picture by Autism Capital saying 5 days left. And look at this, Matthew McConaughey smoking a cigarette, looking at his phone, waiting. And I think this is everyone right now. Everyone is just, they can't wait for this to be over. This is the election fatigue that I was mentioning earlier. And honestly, it is so tough. But like I said in the beginning of this video, there's also kind of this excitement that I feel brewing, which is, yes, I want this election to be over. I want to see this person win in a landslide. I want the campaigning to end. I want the text messages to stop. Please, amen. And I'm just ready for that. And we even have Elon Musk respond to this saying it's so true. My guy who's been campaigning heavy for President Trump is tired of it and he's waiting for this all to end. And guys, you have 3 days left. 3 days left to get out and vote. 3 days left to sow into the future, to put your voice out there online. And I'm excited about it. I'm ready for it. Anyways, that's the video. Let me know what you thought about this conversation. I know we jumped around a lot, and I also know that this video is coming out really, really late. I apologize so much, but hey, video late is way better than no video at all. Anyways, let me know what you thought about these conversations. Let me know in the comments. Let's continue to elevate the conversation there. And people, thank you so much for watching. And I am so happy to be able to do this, be able to have these conversations with you all. And I believe yesterday I spent a lot of time in the comments just going back and forth, even on previous videos besides the one from yesterday. But anyways, that's the video, and I will see you all next time. Hope you guys are having a great day. And should I say goodnight? I might as well say goodnight. It's almost 9 o'clock. It's crazy. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate your time so much, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to support what we're building here, please like and subscribe. It means a lot and it really helps us out. And if you want to see even more content from me, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be sharing a lot more on there. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.